Greetings, everyone. Teachers, my name is Rob Arcero, and I'm principal of Moses Y. Beach Elementary School, joined by my colleagues, Christina Kiley and Chris Friend. And we are thrilled to welcome Greg Tang Jr. here with us, who we've spent some time with and has shared some really great tips accessing their website as a resource. So we're thrilled to have him join us today and do a quick little demo in a way that we can share some asynchronous information with you all, so that hopefully that will be of great use to you later on. Greg?
All right, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. If you guys could just confirm that my screen share is happening.
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
confirm.
And then lastly, can you see the website?
We
Yes,
can.
sir.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that. Okay, thank you. So today what I'm going to go through is you guys all got access this year to our brand new teaching platform called tangmath.com. For those of you who are familiar with our platform, we've had an online website for many years where students can play free online math games that we created. This year, we added all of our teaching tools, so now that you guys, the teachers, have access to every strategy, every progression, every modeling tool we've ever done. It's all going to be accessible on your accounts at tangmath.com. So if you haven't done so already, all you're going to do, go to tangmath.com, and in the top right-hand corner, you'll be able to see this email and password box. Everybody's starting credentials is their own email address and password 123456. So that's everybody's starting password, your own email address, 123456 for the password. Once you're in for the first time, you can change it to whatever you want. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and log in. All of the new teaching material is right here on this first tab called Teach and Learn. So the first thing you're going to notice on my screen, you have this box that says teaching videos. We recorded over 60 hours of all of our virtual workshops this year. So if you're a teacher and you want to watch a longer 30 to 60 minute workshop on any concept, grades K through 5, here's where you can do so any time of the year. Our database is going to stay up for you the entire school year, okay? So if you look on my screen, you can scroll through, you can find any topic you want. Counting, regrouping, comparing, decimals, fractions, whatever it is you teach, you can now find a workshop for this if you need a little bit of help. Let me come back to the teaching tab. Okay, so that was this teaching box right here. If you scroll down, what you'll notice are all of these different tools that will allow you to teach anything that is currently in your standards, grades K through 5. The first main section says numbers. Okay, here's where you can do all of your counting, quantifying, comparing. This is more for the younger grades, okay, a lot of place value and shifting. The next kind of set of categories is going to be all of your operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and the standard algorithms. Okay, scroll down further. We have a large section of fractions and decimals that will be coming very soon in the next couple of weeks. We have all word problems. So if you are a little bit unfamiliar with model drawing, tape diagrams, bar models, we have gone through and coded every single type of problem K through 5 that will draw every single bar model for you, all of the step-by-step progressions so that you can teach yourself or you can give a really effective class lesson. Okay, and then the last two sections here, we have linear models for teaching part, whole, concept, and fractions. And lastly, we have measurement. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do about 3 or 4 examples. I'm going to try and pick one from each section, and I'm confident that once you see those 4 examples, you'll be able to use this platform across any concept because everything is so simple and very consistent from category to category. So let me just start with a first grade example. I'm just going to jump into a category like adding within 20. Okay, if you want to teach adding within 20, all you have to do, click on the box. I am now in a designated adding within 20 page where you'll notice, here's the title of the category I'm in. The first thing you'll see, this is a quick getting started video. So this is not a long workshop. This is just a 3 to 5 minute introduction that says, here's the big idea with the topic that you're in. In the middle here, you have all of our online games that support adding within 20. So this is a perfect way to assign classwork or homework if you want your kids to then go practice whatever you just taught. Okay, all you have to do is copy and paste these links, and that's a perfect activity that they can now do. Over here on the right side, you have all of your print materials. So not only did we build you the teaching tools so that you could virtually model a lesson down here, we also built you all of the print generators so that you never have to create your own worksheet. All you have to do is click the practice page and you'll pull up a full sheet of all the problems you just taught and modeled. Okay, so I'll go into depth with that in just a second. Let's do an example together. Over here on the left side, the first thing you're going to see on the screen is C, P, and A. That stands for concrete, pictorial, abstract. So every single lesson or every single concept we teach, we try and always follow that progression so that we can differentiate our instruction for lower levels of learners, okay? All the ones that are kind of on grade level with the content, and then kids that need to move ahead, or at the end of the year when we want all our kids learning things abstractly, okay? Watch how easy it is to now toggle between concrete, pictorial, instantaneously changes the problem, and abstract. So now at the click of a button, I can simply change my representation. Over here on the right, you can generate literally as many new problems as you want. You can just keep clicking this new problem button and it will always change what you're seeing right here. And then lastly, this is where all the magic happens. So if you see this furthest right button that says next step, this is where you would model draw the entire problem. So let's do it together as if you were my first grade class. Ready, first graders? 7 plus 5. That's a hard problem for a lot of first graders. The 5 is too big, so they end up counting on their fingers. This is the point in grade 1 where we're trying to move kids away from counting to start breaking numbers apart and grouping things. Ready? Hey, first graders, what's easier to add with 7 than 5? What do you notice the concrete 10 frames do for me? It helps me see what goes with the 7. Watch what happens when I click next step. It highlights the exact 3 that you want all your kids to be thinking right now. That's the easy number that goes with 7. Hey class, where am I going to get 3 from? Click next step again. It highlights the 3 in the 5. Next, what's going to happen? If we were in real life, wouldn't we drag those counters over so that we can make a 10 on the left? Ready? What would we do if this was on paper? Cross them off, redraw them over there. Hey, first graders, now that we made 10, what do you see are your new 2 parts instead of 7 and 5? Does everybody see 10 and 2? And is 10 and 2 a much easier problem than 7 and 5? Yes, it is. Okay, there's my answer. It's 12. After we go through this several times, however many times it takes for your kids to be really comfortable with the concrete, now I would move to the pictorial and I'd have them do the same exact strategy, but I don't want to show them all the counters. I want them to visualize. Hey kids, what's easy to add with 7? I want you to think, what was missing on those 10 frames? Every time I saw a 7, it was 3. What's left in my 5? 2. 7 and 3 is 10. 10 and 2 is 12. So what I want you to see is how easy it is for you to be able to model any problem you want in your class. And because you have a step-by-step walkthrough, you can go completely at your own pace. You can stop whenever you need to discuss a topic in further depth, and then you can just move along whenever you're ready. And because the whole problem is modeled and animated or colored, all the kids know where to look as you're explaining it because the certain things you're talking about are being highlighted. So I think this can be a really helpful tool for you, whether you're in class or especially if we continue to be remote and all the kids are at home away from you without their manipulatives or whatever you have in your classroom normally. Okay, lastly, once you give the lesson, now you can come up to the practice button. And again, I showed this briefly. Look what it does. You want concrete worksheets? Let me zoom in here a little bit. You can generate as many as you want just by clicking new sheet. You want them to all look like number bonds? Click the P. You want them to all be abstract, just the equation? Click A. Okay, look at my C. What if you send this home with your kids and the parents have no idea what you're teaching them? They don't know the strategy. Click solve 1 and look what it does to just the first problem on my page. It shows them just one example solved, so now that parent can help them with the rest of the page. You want an answer key? Just click Solve All, and the whole thing's done for you. What if a kid is having trouble moving from the concrete to the pictorial? And this applies, I hope you see that this is not just for adding within 20. This goes for all concepts across grades K through 5. Okay? What if a kid's having trouble moving from the C to the P? Wouldn't it be great to have the exact same problem side by side, modeled both ways so that they can see it's really the same strategy? Now you can do that. So look up here in the middle between my C and my P. I can click CP and notice what it does on the page. Puts the same exact problem side by side so you can see that it's really the same exact make 10 strategy. One is done concretely with counters and one is done with the number bond. We also have that same bridge from the P to the A as well. Okay? So that was an example of just one category, but what I hope you see is that as we do a couple more examples, the learning curve is so small. Everything is in the exact same place, no matter what category you're in. All of the buttons are the same. You always have your CPA progression. You always have the worksheets. So now you can do this across anything you want to teach. Ready? Let's do a couple more, and I think you'll see exactly what I mean. That was one from operations. Clearly, you can do any operation you want, and we've scaffolded all of the categories by the size of the numbers. You can start within 10, move to within 20, 100, 1,000. You can do the same for subtraction. All of the regrouping is in here. Multiply, divide, whatever you need. Okay? Let's scroll down to an example of the word problem section. Okay? Ready? These first three categories, these are going to be your K1 types of problems. The next two, compare more and compare fewer. Those are the ones from grade 1 and grade 2 standards. Grade 2 starts multi-step, adding and subtracting. Grade 3, equal groups. Grade 4, remainders. And then these last categories here are really grades 4, 5, 6. You have comparison, multiplicatively, fractions, and ratio. Let's just pick a very basic grade 1 and 2 problem like compare. Okay, so watch how easy it is to now do word problems. Whether you come across a problem in your scope and sequence that maybe you don't know how that looks drawn, now you can do it for yourself. If you're doing a class lesson, live or remote, you can now easily model draw an entire problem with your class without having to do any work other than to click the button. Okay, so the first toggle here is going to change the unknown in a word problem. You can always have your start, your change, or your result unknown. The next toggle changes your number range. So again, when we're doing word problems, some kids might need to be doing arithmetic with very basic numbers. Other kids in your class might need harder numbers. Now you can easily change it with the click of a button. The next toggle over says paragraph or list. Okay, notice my default. My word problem is in a paragraph, which is what it's more commonly going to be. But when kids are learning word problems, do they find information easier if it's in a long-running sentence or if it's itemized into one piece of information per line? Now you can click list and look what it does. One piece of information per line, so you can just take it step by step as we go. The next toggle over, this is a really neat one, but completely optional. You can select generic names, which means the word problems will just pick random common names. Or you can use your own names, whether that's your students' names, your faculty, Disney characters, whatever you want. If you select class names, it will automatically pull whatever names you've entered into your profile. So again, that's completely optional, but you can enter in your students' names in your profile if you want their names to show up in these word problems. Okay, let's do one together. Ready? Watch what happens when I click next step. It highlights the sentence I'm reading. Val ran 18 miles, Wes ran 36 miles. How many more miles did Wes run than Val? Hey kids, who or what is this problem about? It's about Val and Wes. Watch what happens when I click next step. It labels my model. Hey kids, who ran more, Wes or Val? Well, I see Wes ran 36. That's more. So guess what I'm going to do? Label Wes more. If Wes is more, Val is, what word am I looking for? The opposite, fewer. Now we're going to get kids to draw a picture of what that actually means, not to guess at keywords. If Wes is more, is his bar going to be longer or shorter? Doesn't it have to be longer if he has more? And that's what we're going to draw. If Val's is fewer, that means hers is shorter. Hey, class, where's the difference between Val and Wes? Isn't it going to be that length right between the two bars? Does everybody see a part whole forming? And now once I have that, I don't have to guess at operation. All I'm going to do is plug in the information. Val ran 18. It highlights what piece of information you're about to plug in. There it is. Wes ran 36. Plug it in. How many more miles did Wes run than Val? Aren't I looking for the difference? How many more or fewer? It's going to be that part right there. Hey, class, what equation do you see? Well, I see 18 plus something is 36. 36 minus something is 18. Okay, there it is. I plug it in, and there's my answer. So what I wanted you to see here is just how easy it is. Again, just a step by step. All I've done this entire time is on the right side of my screen, I've just clicked this button that says next step. That's it. Whenever I was ready to then explain the next point. After you give the lesson, like always, what if you need your kids to then go practice and you want their practice to match what you just taught exactly? All I have to do, click this button right here, and there's all of my worksheets all done for me. You can click solve one, and it will just solve the first one on the page so that they can see an example. If you want the answer key, click solve all. So again, we have this player for every single word problem type. You want to do harder problems? No problem. Ready? Last example we'll do today. One from our section called linear models. So we're a big proponent of using length, okay, to teach these really important big concepts. Length is in one dimension, right? So it's really easy to comprehend. So many times in our curriculum, we move to models that are based on 2 dimensions before we even do 1 dimension. And that's what can be so confusing for a lot of kids. You think about stuff like fractions, and right away we can tend to be going to pizzas and pies and baking sheets, all things that are based off area rather than length, which is just in 1 dimension. Ready? Here's what I mean. Let's pick the easiest category, which is just joining. Okay, so this would be for more like pre-K, K1 kids. Ready? Watch how easy it is to teach part-whole concept when you have the right tools. Hey kids, what's one of the parts you see right here? It's a white. I drag it up onto my screen. What's the other part right here? Yellow. Hey kids, a white and a yellow is the same as what? What does the length model allow you to do here to teach part whole concept? Can't you match up that it's exactly the same or not? So we're looking for a piece that is exactly the same as a white and a yellow. Who wants to take a guess? Kid raises their hand, they say, oh, I think it's black. Drag up a black so the whole class can see. Hey class, does a black look the same as a white and a yellow? Nope, too long or too short. Well, it looks too long, and every kindergartner in your class can see that that's not right. Even if they don't know how to add, subtract, count, quantify, anything, they can see length in that 1 dimension very easily. Ready? It's not black. Who else wants to take a guess? Someone else says, let's try dark green. Ooh, hey class, does a white and a yellow look exactly the same as a dark green? Yes, it does. Let's check our answer. I drag it up into the answer box. Very good. It's correct. Now, can you see that after you were to do this a whole bunch of times with your class, maybe it takes several days, several weeks, and they start to understand the concept that 2 parts make the whole exactly, right? Because you can see that with the length. Now watch what I can do with these toggles at the top of my screen. If I click this, watch what happens to all the bars. It puts the counters on them. So now my conversation doesn't have to just be about length. It can now start to be about quantity. Hey kids, what's a white? 1. What's a yellow? Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey class, a 1 and a 5 is the same as what? we know the answer is 6, but what if a kid doesn't know 1 and 5 is 6? Doesn't the length models allow you to confirm if your thinking is correct or not? If you said 7 and you held it up on my model, wouldn't it be too long and all the kids would see that? If you said 5, wouldn't it be too short? Look at what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, look at that. A 1 and a 5 is exactly the same as a 6. And after you build this concept, where can you move from here? Well, let's move away from counting and let's just stick the numbers on all the bars. And now we're practicing our math facts. So this tool can be really helpful in terms of allowing you to model a problem exactly at the level that you're working on with your students. Okay, it's very dynamic. You can move around your unknown, so it doesn't always have to be total unknown. You can now make one of the parts unknown. You can introduce the number bond symbol right here by clicking P, and then you can even take them to formal math equations by clicking the A. Okay, so again, very dynamic tool, and the kids can always play this game. So right here, just like always in this gray space, you can copy and paste that link, and now kids have an activity to go do at home. All right, what would this look like for the older kids? Last example. Well, we could use the same exact tool to teach fractions. Watch how easy this is. Ready, kids? Which rod is 3/4 of purple? Well, what's my first question? What's the whole? Purple, I drag it up onto my screen. Which rod is 3/4? Well, before I can get 3/4, don't I need 4 equal parts? That's what fourths are. Hey kids, who can guess which one looks like it's 4 of pieces make the purple? I think it's white. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does 4 of the whites look exactly the same as a pink? It does. And for kids, that's really easy to see. Why? It's in one dimension, right? We're just dealing with length. You can match it up exactly. But I don't want 1/4 one of these. I actually need one that's 3/4. Hey, class, who wants to guess which one looks like it's about 3 out of the 4? I think it's light green. When you pulled this up and you stack the model, can't you see that a light green is exactly 3/4 of the pink? Let's drag it up, check our answer. Very good. So you can even put all the fractions on it. Okay, you can put the counters. However you want to show this, you can now do it in a really fun and easy way. All right. Now, just to come back to our bird's eye view here, again, I'm just jumping around showing one example here and there. I hope you see that we don't just have a couple of standards covered. We have the progressions that you would need to do all of this stuff. Unit fractions, proper, improper, mixed numbers, not on a number line, on a number line, so on and so forth. And so we're really trying to have you covered so that you have a tool to now do your instruction for any topic that you want to teach. Okay? And so last thing I'll say about this, because we can't obviously go through every example, but I think just with those 4 we did, you can see the consistency across the site. Our goal with making this platform was not to give teachers 10 different ways to solve every problem. I think that's a lot of the struggle for students and for teachers going on with math all over the country is kids are learning so many different ways to solve problems at every grade. We want them to be so flexible that we end up teaching 3 or 5 or 7 different ways to solve the same problem. But as a result, kids are not leaving grade levels being strong in even one of those ways, at least strong enough to continue to generalize their thinking as the math gets harder and changes. What we tried to do, if you use our site, what you'll notice, there's not many ways to solve problems. For every single concept, we tried to make it very simple and we picked one. So we tried to pick the best one, okay, that we thought was the one that you need to teach in order to set the foundation, not only just to cover the problems in that category, but everything that's coming later. And so by no means are we saying there's only one way to solve a problem. We're just saying that we tried to give you the tool so that you can now have confidence knowing this is the way that I need to make sure my kids have, because it's the building block for everything that comes after. And then if you have time, you can now layer on other ways of doing things. But our platform hopefully is going to help a lot of teachers in the sense that it really consolidates and simplifies your instruction. If you have any confusion about which strategy should I teach, what's the order I should go in, how am I going to model it, all of those questions are answered in the program itself. Okay. So this main section, that's going to be really the core of our program, is that all of these teaching tools. And then the last thing I'll mention that's included with the with your accounts is up here at the top, there is a button called Puzzles. I believe your district has had our Tangy Tuesday and Wordy Wednesday puzzles for several years now. Okay, they are all included again in your site. So if you just click on this button that says puzzles, what you'll notice is right here, you have every single PDF for all grade levels by week. Every single week on Tuesday, you get a whole new set of PDFs added to your account. And if this is not familiar to you at all, if you have no idea what Tangy Tuesday and Wordy Wednesday puzzles are, that's okay. Right here, it says click here for a tutorial. You can click here and every puzzle is explained in depth for you. So it'll give you an example of what that puzzle looks like. And if you notice here in black, you have video tutorials on how to solve all of them. So that's something you can do on your own. And if anybody needs help, feel free to let your principals know or to let me know directly. I am always happy to jump on a video call with you and I can walk you through any of these problems that might be giving you trouble. Okay, so at this time, let me jump back here just to recap. So in your new subscription, everybody's login information is going to be their own email address, password 123456 to start. Then you can change it to whatever. The three main components in our site, you have all of this included PD right here. So that's the first big component. Number two, you have a teaching tool that includes all unlimited problems and unlimited print materials for every single major standard K through 5. And then lastly, we have all of the puzzles. So this is kind of those fluency activities that now support whatever concept you just taught. So now kids can get really good at this stuff on their own. Okay. And like always, like we've had for the last 20 years, our games page will always remain free. So for students, they don't need to log in order to access the games. They can play that from any iPad or computer just by going to tangmath.com. All right. All right, let me jump back over to you guys. Anything else I can help with today?
All right, Greg, listen, thank you so much for doing a deeper dive on your website and sharing your expertise with our awesome teachers. We really, really appreciate that.
Of course.
Once again, thanks so much. Teachers, remember this website and all the resources that come with it. It's a verified and endorsed resource for the district. Unlike other things that are online, either free or you might have to pay somebody else for. These are expert resources that I'm sure you're going to enjoy taking a deeper walk through. And again, thanks to Greg for helping support us in that process.
Of course. I just want teachers to know, just to remind them that throughout this year, we are kind of donating, not even donating, but including our time completely for free for you guys. So if any teachers are confused, they don't know a certain progression, they don't know which tool to use, please feel free to email me and I can meet with your teachers anytime that they need to.
Thanks, Greg. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time. All right. Bye now.